Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Early Morning Horror Podcast. I am your host, and I'm actually going to introduce myself by name today. My name is Tristan. We are recording at 3:02 a.m. this morning, and I hope that you're all having a wonderful day so far, wherever you may be. But today we are going to be covering 2020's movie Spell, which is kind of like it's kind of like a hoodoo version of Misery. I mean, it's got the same similar plot line. There's a crash of some sort. Then there's a rescue of the main character who is a man, and there's an I shouldn't say old, because in Misery she wasn't old. There's a woman that wants something from the person she saved. But yeah, let's talk about a little bit of the facts. Or my general opinion of it. Spell is a really good movie. If I had to pick between Spell or Misery as which one I would want to watch for the rest of my life, if I had to pick between those two, I'd still probably end up picking Misery, but I mean, there's just a part of me that loves Spell, especially because the actress in it, well, the main actor does really good too. He has like really good physical acting, especially in one of the scenes that we will talk about. But the Miss Eloise played by Loretta Devine or Devine. I don't know how to pronounce it, but she does a really good job in this movie. Oh, I love her as an actress so much. I have my past with her because of Supernatural. Whenever she played Missouri, I think all the way back in season 1, if I'm not mistaken. I know it was the home episode that she played in, where she was a psychic. But in this, she's like a hoodoo woman or a boogity woman, whatever it's called. But yeah, love this movie. If I had to rate it out of like 5 or something, I'd probably give it like a 4, a 4.5, something like that. But okay. The director is Mark Tendereye. I'm not really familiar with his work besides this, so I can do a little quick Google search because I did not think about doing this before. Let's look up Mark Tendereye. What kind of movies he? Okay, never mind. He's got more stuff than I thought. Let's look here. If it will load up. Okay, he did House at the End of the Street from 2012. He also did Lock and Key in a movie called The Five from 2016. So, I mean, this dude's got some stuff. But I don't think I've seen The Five, but I've seen House at the End of the Street and I've seen Spell. And Lock and Key is pretty good. I don't know. Anyways, let's try and see if we can talk a little bit more about this movie. The budget was $40,000, which for a movie budget is not much at all. And it ended up grossing $500,000. That's a win in my books. And the ratings show that this movie was pretty divisive because Rotten Tomatoes has a 50%, IMDb has a 5.5 out of 10, and Letterboxd is 2.7 out of 5. So it's like almost completely split down the middle across all three of those. But the main cast that you're gonna see consists of, I'm probably gonna say it wrong, but Omari Hardwick playing Marquis T. Woods. He is our main character. Loretta Devine playing Miss Eloise. She is our misery type character. John Beasley, who plays Earl, her husband, who he's just a fun little guy. Lorraine Burrows, who plays Viora Woods, which is Marquis' wife. Hannah Hannah Gonera or Gonera plays Sam Woods, who is Marquis and Viora's daughter. Khalifa Burton, who plays Ty Woods, who is Marquis and Viora's son. And Steve Malulu, who plays Lewis, which is like the muscle for Earl and Miss Eloise. The movie takes place in like the Appalachia, but it was actually filmed in South Africa. Which, if you were to have asked me if I knew that watching the movie, I would not be able to tell you that I did, because it, yeah, it's a very sweaty looking movie though. Like, all the characters throughout the movie look like they are sweating. I mean, they are, but and about 29 minutes in, I'm just reading the fun fact that I got. About 29 minutes in, there is a reference to Misery with the use of a ceramic penguin. So that's something. But okay, that are all my little factoids and reference apparently, which I will have to go back and rewatch again if I want to pick up on that reference. But now let's talk about the movie, everything that happens in it, and then my opinion as to what I would be doing if I was in this situation. But okay, we actually start off with kind of like a bit of a flashback from Marquis to his childhood. Uh, so it's a little bit of him getting abused, like he was trying to run away or something. And then it shows kind of like his scars on him. He's got many from his dad, because his dad was very abusive, verbally and physically. But it was, we'll get further into it. Like, he was being abused, but he was also being taught, like, looks like he was being taught Vietnam type tactics. Uh, but yeah, like, the guy seemed like he was ultimate veteran survivalist type. But next thing we know is Viora is trapped in like a closet, and she is saying that she is stuck and the door is jammed and wants him to break it down. And he's like, this door cost me $1,500. I'm not kicking it down. There's no world where I'm kicking this down. But he knows how to like pick a lock. He takes apart a pen and picks the lock and gets her out of there, which is really cool. I'm assuming that's something he learned from his dad. But uh they seem like they got a good happy marriage. I love them and their little chemistry. Next thing we know is Marquis is talking to this white guy, and this guy is basically saying that Marquis is not going to be comfortable going after the opponent's attorneys because they're black, and he's like, no, because I'm going to go over there and shove something down their throat, something like that. But yeah, you get the idea. Uh, we find out that Marquis' dad passed away, and there is like an inheritance or a will of some sort, but it's in Kentucky on the Appalachia, because the Appalachia stretches across like quite a bit of land, doesn't it? I'm not a professional on the Appalachia. I just know some of the Reddit stories I've read. But they are flying this plane, and the son, Ty, he's kind of like a prick. Like he's a bit disrespectful. Uh, but there's like a song where it says, "I cast a spell on you." Like, I'm not exactly sure what song that is, but it kind of like foreshadowing right there. Anyways, they stop to get some gas, some diesel, and uh Ty is on the roof of the plane and he's just walking around. He can't get any service. There's this one dude walking by with his fishing poles, and Ty's like, "Hey man, can I get know where I can get some service?" And the guy says, "Slavery's over. Pump your own damn gas." And Ty's like, "I meant for my phone." Oh, very funny. Like, because it was so out of the blue. But the gas station is like selling a bunch of hoodoo stuff, like snake heads and uh, all these different canned things. Like, and the guy's making mojo bags, which mojo bags are like some sort of hoodoo thing for protection, usually. But Ty explains that he has this busted finger to this stranger. Like his finger was broke and then healed, but healed wrong. So it's like the end of his middle finger is like bent. It's a bit of a cool look though, but it's unique. Next thing we know is Marquis has to use the bathroom, so he is walking around for where the bathroom is, and it is a outhouse, and it is disgusting. But the guy with the fishing poles is saying, where y'all headed? And Ty's like, oh, well, we just gotta fly over on down that way, and he points at the Appalachia. And this guy said, oh, best be getting. And he moves on. Like he's like, I can't be associated with these people. And then Ty kind of mumbles and calls him a country ass, which was pretty funny and warranted because the uh the accent that he had was funny. As somebody from the South, that was, I don't think my accent is anywhere near as strong as that. But before they can take off, the sheriff pulls up and was just basically saying, trying to figure out if y'all need any help or what are y'all up to, that sort of thing. And Marky had to explain how they're flying to a funeral and just had to stop for gas. But then Ty says, kind of like predicts what the sheriff is going to say and says, y'all have a nice day now. And then sheriff says, y'all have a nice day now. And basically there's a bit of laughing, but he ends up slamming the door, and it's kind of an awkward moment. But they're flying, and there's a storm brewing, and then Ty says something disrespectful, or Sam does. I can't remember which one. I think it was Ty. Sam's just back there writing in her journal. And then Viora and Marquis start arguing about discipline because Marquis wants there to be more discipline for the kids, but Marquis is like, what do you want me to do? You want me to park the plane and take my belt off and go 12 rounds with him just like my pops did? But basically, like, the whole sort of thing of he wants his he does not want to put his kids through anything like he went through, which makes him a good dad. But so it's kind of like showing that Marquis is still holding this stuff, his trauma in. He is a completely grown man, but God knows what he went through. And it's pretty sad, though. I wrote down survival skills. I'm not really sure why, but I did. Okay, next thing I wrote was woke up in attic, injured foot. Because, like, his foot's wrapped up in gauze, and then I wrote down Missouri because of the actress showing up. So glad. But Missouri shows up and is talking all sort of nice, saying that he needs to be laying down, getting some rest, and Earl shows up, and because Miss Eloise was calling for Earl, and Earl was like, now I have a bad heart now. That plays into later, trust me, because it's almost kind of like the reason for this movie. And then they call up Lewis because Lewis is really big and they want Marquis to get in the bed and relax. So, and I just wrote Lewis big motherfucker because he is a very big dude. And then Marquis is trying to, he's trying to figure out what's going on. So he's panicking and he's cussing, and they're kind of getting on to him. They're like, you shouldn't be cussing like that. Oh my Lord, don't let those words slip your lips or whatever. And then Miss Eloise blows this powder into Marquis' face and it knocks him out. Next thing it shows is Miss Eloise making a voodoo doll. Like, she's putting it in the oven. I think it's because it has something to do with clay. She's making the face of it. She's putting like Marquis' ID in it. Like, yeah, it's something. But it's kind of like this whole thing where the voodoo doll has to look a type of way. It has to match up with who it's supposed to look like. But while she's doing that, Lewis is digging 3 graves out in the front yard. But they end up going back up there, or at least Miss Eloise does, to kind of show him the doll. But Marquis is offering them money, like any amount. He's like, money is no object to me. If I could just use a phone, that'd be great. And basically she's like, well, we don't have a phone up here. We ain't ever had one. It's supposed to bring people together, but it's really just an excuse to keep them apart or something like that. But and then she says this thing about the powders with the hoodoo, where it's like, this one put you up, put you down, put you sideways, and spin you around. Which is, yeah, goes into play later. I'm glad that she explained how the powders work and which one does what. Because it's like the darker one knocks you out, the brighter one is, I guess, an energy boost. I don't know. But She ends up leaving and closes the door, and there's a bell on the door. Like, they've got this dude trapped. If I've ever seen somebody that is trapped, it is this guy. Like, because you don't put a bell on an indoor door unless you're trying to make sure that you can hear when somebody opens it. The only reason why you need to know if somebody opens it, especially, they also lock the door. Like, yeah, nah, this guy's trapped. My alarm signals would be going off. Sorry, I just took a drink of my coffee. It tastes phenomenal right now. But yeah, I wrote down bell on door, locked, and then next thing we know is it is raining, like pouring rain. So Marquis decides to escape to the roof, and he gets on the roof that is over like the barn. And there is like a gathering, like I guess all the people around gather there for some hoodoo healing. And they're using the boogetees, and this one girl who's mute, Earl cuts out a cat's tongue, and they put the cat's tongue in the boogetee's mouth for this girl, and then she can talk. And then there's this other guy, they remove a goat's eyes, and they put some eyes on the boogity, and then they also put the goat's eyes in place of this guy's eyes. And they're like, now what do you see? And he looks up at the roof where Marquis is looking through this hole, and they're like, him. I'd be booking it. I do not care. I'd be out of there. Absolutely not. But he got seen by that one. But Earl and I think it's just Earl and Miss Eloise that go and check on him, make sure that he didn't leave. But I can't remember if Lewis was there. I'm not 100%. He probably was, but yeah, they check on him and they're like, the window's open. And he's like, oh yeah, no, I just needed some fresh air. And uh, his voodoo doll is right next to it, and there's a salt line, and the salt line's wet. I'm really not sure as to why they salted a line for him. I guess just to see if he left, but because there is a part later where salt actually does work with their belief system. But yeah. So, and then there was this discussion about how Marquis doesn't believe in hoodoo or hoodoo healing, anything like that, because, seeing is believing, that sort of stuff, which I understand. I would not, I don't think I believe in hoodoo or anything. But then again, if you go on Amazon and you buy something hoodoo related, I doubt you're going to get hoodoo. Like, not the same as if you went to New Orleans and found hoodoo there, but uh next thing we know is Marquis is like eating. There is some food on a plate and he is eating like a dog. He's hungry, like so much so that Miss Eloise goes to get him seconds. Then Marquis says, hey, when I woke up, I heard a ding, like almost like a cell phone ding. And Miss Eloise is like, well, that's a strange thing to hear because I told you there's nothing in that house. I told you that there's not one in this house. So why are you asking me about that? Like, so offended that Marquis is asking her about a phone, which she is lying about, saying that she doesn't have. But He's like, "Oh yeah, yeah, you're sorry. I'm sorry. You're right." But she's got like this leather bag of bones to like tell the future, I guess, and she's like, "Oh yes, yes, at the blood moon, you're gonna see your family again. You're gonna leave this place, and you're gonna see your family again." I'll be honest, I would think that's a threat immediately. I'm like, okay, so they're gonna sacrifice me on the blood moon, like, no doubt about it. Because so far, I've asked about my family, and apparently, I was the only one at the crash. And then, you see big motherfucking Lewis digging 3 graves in the front yard. I'm like, yeah, nah, my family's dead. Like, but uh, basically, which I think I did miss it. Okay, whenever Miss Eloise went to go get seconds, he got out of bed and he removed the thing, the little jingle part of this bell. So like a little pin type deal, but uh yeah, for during that scene I wrote blood moon sacrifice for basically her saying that he was going to see his family again at the blood moon. Uh she walks away for a bit and he is checking the bones, and it comes out that it is Ty's hand, because he put them all together, and there's like the little crooked part of it, and he pukes, and in his puke there was a piece of his son's skin, his hand skin. How he knows is that is because it was tattooed. There was a tattoo on there that matched up with Ty's tattoo. But there's this scene where he gets out of the room, he picks the lock. This is like a high stress scene. I mean, I was stressed out. This reminded me of a little bit of Resident Evil, I think 8 for some reason. It was scary. But Miss Eloise is in the kitchen and there's like this crow and it squawks, and Marquis like, "Shut the fuck up." He keeps going. He tries to get away. Miss Eloise shows up, sees the crow, and then the crow says, "Shut the fuck up." It was just a little funny. But Miss Eloise is like, "Earl, what you been teaching this bird?" But Marquis actually gets out. This dude escapes like 3 times during this movie, but Marquis gets out. Uh, Weird. I wrote Marquis gets out. Marquis finds. Okay, never mind. He finds the plane that he crashed in, and there's blood all over inside that plane. So it really doesn't look like his family survived, but there's a whole bunch of blood all over. And there's a boogity pinned to a tree next to the plane. I'm assuming that it probably works like a alarm system or a security system, like of some sorts. But he got caught not long after, and his foot's hurting. I'm assuming because he unwraps his foot, and there is like a railroad spike going into his heel up, and oh my god, it looks bad. And this scene is very much like, if you got a problem with feet or stuff happening to feet, go ahead and skip this, because he pulls this railroad spike out. I'm talking, this thing is long enough that is probably in his shin. Like it is in his shin bone. This thing is long. There's pus coming out of the hole after he pulls the thing out, and this was really like where his acting was showing its best, was the physical acting of him making it look painful, because he sold it. It looked like he was genuinely pulling that thing out of his foot. I will go ahead and tell you, there is a good chance I would not be able to survive this part. I might have been able to escape, but I'm also not Marquis T. Woods, so I really can't say. But I know I would not be able to pull that thing out of my foot. Uh, but Marquis gets outside, like nobody's there, but Marquis gets outside and he sees the three graves, and it's just for animals, just for like the goat, a pig, and something else. But Marquis goes into the barn and he's looking around, and there's like this basement type thing, and he finds like the stash of hoodoo, like dolls, other people's dolls, bodies, powders, you name it. And he also finds a picture showing Miss Eloise, Earl, and Lewis dating back in 1860. So yeah, they are freakishly old. And then he finds this book, and turns out the blood moon, there is something called a transfer of life. It's a ritual that will make it to where they, live longer. And uh Marquis starts making a doll of his own, because that was also something that his dad taught him, was some hoodoo stuff, because of course his dad was in Appalachia just like Miss Eloise, and his dad believed that was also part of the sort of survivalist stuff that he learned. But he goes back inside the house, and Marquis finds a phone. It's his son's phone. It's got 1% battery life, but he hears Miss Eloise and Earl and Lewis get back, and uh they're like, "You ready to check his dressings?" So he's like, "I gotta put this spike back into my foot." And he does. He pushes it in there as much as he can, and then he puts like the end of the spike on the board at the end of his bed, and he proceeds to push it further in, and then he does like where he kind of kicks it back to where it was supposed to be. Holy mother, I would never be able to. But the reason why I did that was because they told Lewis to get an axe, just in case he did take it out, or he did wander around, whatever. But he almost got caught. It was bad. But he calls 911. The sheriff shows up, and uh Miss Eloise goes upstairs before the sheriff could, you know, they basically talked the sheriff out of not investigating or anything, but she grabs the doll, she pushes it against the bed, and then she wraps it up and takes the tongue out. She's like, "Do you believe that? Do you believe that?" But Marquis ended up grabbing the doll and the tongue, and he got out again, and he found the sheriff, got in, freed the doll, put the tongue back in, and the sheriff, he's in on it. He brought Marquis back, and all the people around grabbed him, put him on the altar, put the powder in his face or whatever. And Earl is undoing his shirt because he's supposed to be getting this I guess, freaking open heart transplant, open chest surgery in front of everybody. But Earl is like, I'm ready. I'm ready. Marquis stabs him in the heart with the railroad spike. And then it shows a flashback to when he was in the basement. Marquis swapped the powders. So the powder that would knock you out, he swapped it to where it was now the powder that I guess wakes you up. And he just pretended like it hit him hard. Uh, but the family showing up and everybody's running and uh but Marquis has a knife and this one dude runs out in front of the sheriff and the sheriff hits him and basically this sheriff's an idiot because he gets out and he's like, where are you, boy? Show yourself, boy. And he's just shooting everywhere. Makes no sense, but yeah, he's shooting everywhere and he gets killed. But they end up piling back into the barn and big ass Lewis starts showing up and he starts to fight Marquis before he starts drowning. And that is because Marquis was smart and put Lewis's boogity in water, so it drowned. So Lewis drowned and he died. And then Miss Eloise is there and uh, is like, that's why I hide my boogity so no one can ever find it. And he's like, yeah, that's why I made my own. He like baseball swung on it and it sends Miss Eloise flying into a support beam, breaking it. And the barn was being burned down and Marquis puts a salt line down, supernatural style, so that way Miss Eloise can't get out and she burns to death and the cult dispersed. They were looked like they were gonna jump him, but he's like, "Don't make me use these boogatees," because he's got like all their boogatees. I don't know. I think I would have tossed them all in the fire too, but yeah, they get out and then it shows Miss Eloise's boogatees doll, voodoo doll's eyes open, like the eyes of the doll open. I guess kind of like a Chucky thing. So possibly a sequel one day, but doesn't really look like it. Anyways, that's the entire movie. I've talked about that movie through and through, and I've only gotten more and more detailed with these little things. The next movie that we got, let me check. The next movie that I've got my notes written down for is Your Next, which I did front and back page and then like a quarter of another page. So that will be the movie that we cover next. Your Next, because that's also another good movie. It's probably my favorite home invasion movie. So yeah, I hope you all enjoyed. Of course, Spell. It's a great movie. Made in 2020. It's really good. I recommend watching it if you haven't. Even if you have, go rewatch it. It's a good rewatch. But really, I don't know. Eventually, one day, I'm going to cover Misery as well. But I think there's a third movie that came out not too long ago that is compared to Misery. But I'll have to check it out. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Can't wait to talk to you guys again next time about Your Next. Like I said, it's my favorite home invasion film. Spell is, I'm going to say, my favorite hoodoo voodoo film. The cast is great. The pacing is good. It's an overall good movie. I really can't say that I wish the movie was longer. I feel like if it was longer, that's when you get into you're stretching it into too long territory, because they had to get the movie done, they had to wrap it up. Uh if there is a sequel down the line, I would love it. I will watch it. But it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. I don't think there will be a sequel. It'll probably just remain as one of those movies that ended open for a sequel but never went anywhere. So yeah, hope you all have a wonderful day. I hope that you have all had your cup of coffee or whatever you need, energy drink, whatever. But yeah, bye bye.